Hello! I just want to say hello to the 5-fish fangirls. No, that's wrong. I want to say hello to the 5-ish fangirls. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
that's
Anyway,
correct.
hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. That's 5 hellos to the 5-fish-ish fangirls. Bye.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 46 of the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. The best way to show your love for those who are gone is to tell their stories. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
We are ish. We're saying for once, Brittany is actually not here. We didn't just lose her right before we started. She's actually not here.
And I had to remember that because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going first. Like as Rachel was doing our intro, I was like, oh yeah, me. But we're here.
Brittany had
her love, I'm sure.
big company, so she is playing hostess to them. So, but she sends her love, and she looks forward to listening to the shenanigans when this gets posted. So. This is a nice thing when
I can guarantee you, there will be shenanigans.
Yeah. It's a nice thing about when any of us go ish, well, except for me, obviously, but when any of the rest of you go ish, you can always listen to the episode and see and hear what you missed.
Yep.
That's the nice thing about it. So, we have got interesting stuff to talk about. Well, we'll get to that momentarily. But first, let's get into news.
First piece of news is more Heroes Reborn recasting.
She's so excited!
Is set to return for Heroes Reborn.
Woo! Yay! You can't see it, but I'm dancing in my chair.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know who he is, the name is not jogging your memory.
He played telepathic detective Matt Parkman in the original Heroes.
He is utterly adorable, and I want 5 of him.
When I was just rewatching some Heroes before we started recording, and he's about to go into Sylar's mind to lock him up at the end, near the end of Series 4.
Mm.
So
he's coming back as that. When I saw that news, I mean, I'm like, yay, Hero is back and HRG is back. Okay. And then they said Matt Parkman is coming back, and I'm like, yay! So I'm excited for this.
Slowly but surely.
Unfortunately, I don't think Milo Ventimiglia is coming back, which is unfortunate for me because he's my favorite. But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the series anyway.
Yeah.
So
there's involved, so maybe you'll get a new favorite.
And I still have the original 4 seasons to see him in.
Oh, of course. Of course. No one's taking that away from anybody.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can always rewatch.
Mm.
So, been rewatching season 4. And, like, I loved this show back in the day. So when I started rewatching season 4 because it's what I've got on iTunes, started at the beginning of that season, and slipped right back into it. Like, I remember all the big set pieces, It's just the details that I'm refreshing.
Oh yeah.
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 Like, how did this turn out again? Oh yeah, that's it.
That's what it was. Yeah. I think I need to just go back and rewatch season 1, which I have on DVD.
I have
Man, now
it on
it's listed
DVD.
things I won't have.
Season 1 on DVD somewhere, it's on Netflix, so I can always
Oh yeah, that's
watch
easy.
the stuff that I rewatch whenever I need to on there. Or
Mhm.
whatever. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll probably end up.
More Heroes.
I'm going to try and rewatch the whole series before it comes back in the fall.
Good plan.
Although because I started with season 4, I might do it like backwards. I'm watching season 4 right now. Once I get done that, go back to season 3, and then back and watch season 2, and then watch season 1. So that'll be interesting going backwards in time.
Yeah. It would be. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
They're getting the gang back together, folks.
Yep.
Yep.
Slowly but surely. All right. So next bit of news. Chris Pratt, who adorable. We'll get to that in a second. In a recent edition of GQ magazine, he confirmed that, of course, he's coming back for another Guardians of the Galaxy, which, duh. But he said that he quoted in the magazine, "I'm tied to doing 3 more or 5 more Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever it is, 2 more Guardians plus another couple." So there's Guardians 2, potentially a Guardians 3. So that's 2 more.
I wouldn't complain if there was a third.
Right. More than likely, the Guardians are going to at least appear somewhat and team up with the Avengers in Infinity War, and that's a 2-parter, so that's 2 more. So there's speculation that he could pop up in one of the others as well, like Inhumans or Captain Marvel or one of those that is likely to take place in outer space, at least somewhat. So, because right now Star-Lord is space in space, but
Yep. Although he could come back to Earth and be like, "Hey, it's my old home. What the heck happened to it?
Yeah.
The internet."
Which, if you've seen how it should have ended for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, that is true. I hadn't thought of that until you just said that. But yes. Everyone go watch How It Should Have Ended. It's wonderful.
Yeah, for Guardians. It's hilarious. And I totally hope that some jokes like that end up in there somewhere.
Oh, please do, yes.
Yeah.
Which, I gotta take us on just a really quick tangent. So, if you watch Honest Trailers, they had the Honest trailer of Jupiter Ascending. And back when I did my review of that on this podcast, whenever that was, and I talked about how the most surprising thing was that Sean Bean doesn't die, they made that joke in the Honest trailer, and I was like, okay, it's not a difficult joke to make, I grant you that, but I was like, I made that joke first. I'm like, I'm sure someone else is thinking of that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anyway, that was a random tangent. But anyway, yay, Chris Pratt.
Yes.
And you've probably seen his Facebook post about his heartfelt apology for whatever he ends up accidentally saying during the forthcoming Jurassic World press tour.
Yeah.
And just go to Facebook and look it up. He's just, he's wonderful.
He is.
Whatever.
It's like this long, like
he's
3-paragraph, like tangent, like. It's like I'm apologizing in advance for anything I may say in the upcoming press junket. And he's like, all I can say is I'm dumb.
And obviously he hasn't said anything yet. He's just pre-apologizing for anything stupid he may possibly say in this thing. And I'm just like, you know what? Whatever you say, you're forgiven. I don't care.
Or in a moment of excitement, he lets something slip that he shouldn't.
Right.
Discovered. Oh, yep, that's true.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. Which I'm just, it's him being funny, and at the same time, I think poking fun at some of the things that happened during the press tour for Age of Ultron, which we won't get into because it's more serious depending on your opinion on some of the stuff that some of the Avengers said, but
well. And we're a fun podcast. We don't want to dwell on the negative,
right?
And trust me, we're going to be dwelling on a lot of negative in this episode. Yeah. Spoilers. So let's not start it with Chris Pratt, okay?
Right.
Let's
Chris Pratt thing be Chris Pratt is awesome. He's amazing. I love him. He's hilarious, and I hope he is blessed with a long and successful career. And I will watch as much stuff that he's in as humanly possible because he's amazing.
And he's a wonderful human being on top of that. So, you can't hate him. Nope. I don't care who you are. You love him.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we got one more piece of news. This was sort of a stretch because it was such a slow news week, finale week, taking a break. And I put this in kick. I'm blaming the Vortex Boys for this and putting all creatures great and small on their Beyond the Doctor thing, which I'm going to try to mainline this summer, maybe. But anyway, PBS, the miniseries Poldark, will premiere on June 21st. And the only reason I care about this is because it's been all over my Tumblr when it was on in the UK, and people were drooling over Aidan Turner, who, if you don't remember, was Keeley. Yes, he was Keeley in the Hobbit movies, and he's wonderful. And just reading the synopsis of this miniseries, it's actually a remake of one that they did that either ITV or BBC, one of those two, did back whenever they did it. It's about this guy, Captain Ross Poldark, who was a veteran, a British veteran of the American Revolutionary War. He comes home to find, well, first off, they lost the war, and then he comes home to find that his father's dead, and he has to, take care of the estate and what have you, and his childhood sweetheart is in love with another man, but there's another cute little love story with another woman in there, and yeah, it sounds interesting. So I am looking forward to this. I need my period drama fix, so this is what's going to bring that to me. And so it's going to be Sundays starting June 21st, and I think they said it goes till August 2nd, and it's on PBS. So, as they say, check your local listings, or just get it off the PBS app the next day, which is what I did with Downton Abbey when that was on. So anyway, yay new shows, and it's the summertime, so
fill our time with something.
With all your... Yeah, might as well. We'll still be here.
Yes.
I'm sure.
It'll give us new stuff to talk about.
Yes, because sometimes we really have to stretch what we're discussing any given week. But that's what we're here for.
And then sometimes it falls right into our lap. As like this week.
That has happened more than once.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this week. So, and like Chrissy said, it's kind of a slow news week. So that's all we really have for news. So we don't have any feedback. So I guess we'll jump straight into this week's topic, like we mentioned. Well, we're going to talk about. We're going to discuss Season 4B of Once Upon a Time, or as we like to call it, the good, the bad, and the disappointing. Where do we even want to start with this? It had such a good premise,
Yeah, go
and it
ahead.
started off so good, and then it just went.
I'm thinking it's kind of the season 3 in reverse. Where we had the Oz stuff, which was great in 3, and then the Neverland stuff in 3A, which wasn't that good, with the exception of 1 or 2 episodes.
This is my thing with this story arc. Okay, they advertised it at the beginning: Queens of Darkness, Maleficent, Cruella, Ursula, and oh my gosh, Emma might go dark. Whatever shall we do? I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. Let's do this. And you know how they couched it? They defanged Maleficent again. If you've seen the Maleficent movie, they did that almost pretty much the same thing. They tried to make Snow and Charming out to be like these terrible, awful people, and we're just like, no, not buying it. And the Queens of Darkness thing went nowhere.
Exactly. They didn't do anything.
No.
They weren't the focus, and it was Rumple.
It was a Rumple show again.
Donkey. It was the Rumple show again, and I'm just like, done with you. I told you.
So the author, I think, might have had a little bit of a hand in that, just slightly, even though I do agree it was the Rumple show, but I think Rumple was trying to save everybody, because I think you could kind of see what that author was trying to do. Just a bit, but what Rumple did really, some of his actions really didn't justify, some of the things he did. Because, I'm blaming the author square on that whole thing with Maleficent.
Yes. The author thing came way too late.
It should have been earlier.
Yeah.
It should have been early. Honestly, this arc, it should have been, hey, what they should have done is at the end, instead of doing Queens of Darkness, they should have said, here is the author. Mm-hmm. Here is this guy, and they built him up as this, he's gonna give us all our happy endings. No, he's a putz. He is like this squirrely, wormy little. I'm trying to keep this PG, and I'm going to fail. So I'm pulling a Chris Pratt right now and saying I apologize in advance for any bad words that come out of my mouth, because I hated what they did with the author.
Yeah. Get creative with your words.
I will try. I'm sorry, but
to quote Captain America, watch your language.
Yeah, language.
Watch my language. This is the author. This is the guy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
especially after August, he did this thing like the author is this great and wonderful thing, and from a man named Walt, and I'm like, it's Walt Disney. I'm so happy that you're doing no. And they do allude to the fact that Walt Disney did have the title. And that's why at the beginning of the finale, that flashback takes place in December of 1966, because that's when Walt passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then the apprentice is looking for a new author, and it brings in this guy Isaac Heller, and he's not Walt Disney. I'm like, not that I need him to be Walt Disney, but I just feel like he should be a little more.
Yeah, and the one thing, I'm going to hop to the end a little bit here, timey-wimey, but his thing to David, saying why he did what he did to both him and Snow, was because he had a boss like David. And I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. David did not choose to have this prince life thrust upon him. He was happy living his life, being a shepherd on his mom's farm. It was his brother who was idiotic enough, and King, was it David? Or no, Spencer.
No, King, not Frederick. I know
his storybook character is Spencer, and Spencer called for Rumple saying, "Hey, I need help." It's all those two's fault.
Yeah. And I mean, we only get a short glimpse of Isaac's boss at the beginning of that. And yeah, he's kind of a jerk, but that's because Isaac really sucks at selling TV.
Right. Some people are just not good salesmen. I can attest to that. I'm a terrible salesman.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, but you know, he's blaming the fact that he can't sell TVs on the fact that his boss is kind of a, you know, I don't know what you want to call him, big man on campus, kind of a jerk. But it's like, you're not cut out for this, for the job that you're doing. And apparently, and then after, you know, because his boss said, you know, you're never going to write anything anyone's going to want to read. And then he rewrites the story for that alternate universe thing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to read this. I mean, this is good for this finale being the alternate universe for this one-off thing. But if this was the whole story, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want to read it or watch it or any of it. And the only parts I did like were, of course, the Captain Swan moments and just how utterly adorable, you know, cowardly deckhand Hook is.
Yeah.
Because I love calling him.
That was the only part that, and even that was kind of a, I mean, because it seemed like when they went into the giving the villains their happy end of Henry's book, that for the most part everybody switched. You know, Snow became the evil queen.
Yeah,
Regina became essentially the renegade Snow White. But Hook,
but even Regina wasn't getting her happy ending. The only one who was Rumple.
Yeah, and that's. But what they did with Hook is they turned him into Mr. Smee. Is what they did, which to me you know, he needed to be an alternate version of himself, which the Hook we know is, you know, he's flawed and he's somewhat insecure, but for the most part he's, you know, he plays it off. He plays it off, and he's willing, you know, he's got that swagger, and he's like, I will do what I need to do to get the job done, and I will do, you know, whatever needs, you know, whatever thing is happening, I will try my best to help take care of it. But this was just, he was Mr. Smee.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, he was, and it was, and the whole thing with Snow becoming the evil queen. Sorry, you know, Jennifer Goodwin, you know, God love you. You and Josh, I'm sure you got a lovely baby, and you two are just happily ever after. But no, it was not believable at all.
Yes, thank you. I mean, and not even,
she looked ridiculous.
She did. And even before they went into the alternate universe part, even before that, when they were all like, when they did the flashbacks, when they thought, you know, when she was pregnant with Emma, and they're like, oh, Emma might go dark, or our child might go dark, and they had those visions with Charming as, she's so precious to me and I love her, and Snow has the vision of teenage Emma ripping her heart out, and then she panics and pretty much sets this whole thing in motion. I'm just like, how are you expecting me to believe that Snow White, Jennifer Goodwin as Snow White, would go so far as to remove the darkness from her child and inflict it upon another innocent child? No!
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe this. I'm not buying it. Not for one hot second.
No.
At all.
No. I mean, I can, you know, I'm not a parent, so I can't grasp the concept of wanting to, like, protect my child and give them the best life that they could possibly have. But even then, you know, I could see Snow maybe being concerned that, you know, yes, it's been foretold or whatever that your child has the potential for darkness, but it's potential. It's not a given. And you two are the Charmings. It's kind of your job to be the goody two-shoes of the Enchanted Forest. So if you continue to be shoes, more than likely your child will grow up to be, granted, it was a moot point because of the curse and everything, and Emma sending off to a land without magic anyway. But if the curse hadn't happened and Snow had given birth to Emma and they'd raised her like they should have or could have, then more than likely Emma would have turned out to be this lovely human being.
She would have been a hero.
Yes.
And then they bring up Lily. Then so the curse happens. Emma grows up in a land without magic, thinking her parents abandoned her. She gets shunted through the foster system. She has a crappy life. She does make poor choices. And, and I'm like, and this is the point that I wanted this part of the story to make. It did make it, but it was too little too late, is that you do not get your happy ending or bad ending because of what some author gives you. You get it because you make it. You make good or bad
Which the only
choices.
person who figured that out was Regina.
Well, Ariel said in the Ursula episode to Hook, because he was all, Hook did not buy into the I have to have this author, fix my happy ending for me, because I've already got mine. But then all these things start to put doubts in his mind, and he starts to wonder. And then Ariel comes and says, well, maybe villains don't get the happy ending because of the wrong choices they make. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know. I could look it up somewhere. But anyway, but that's the point. And I was just like, yes, Ariel, you're speaking my language, woman. Or she says, maybe that's because villains always go about getting them the wrong way. And they didn't do anything with that. I'm like, I wanted Hook or somebody, probably Hook, because he's the one that talked to Ariel, and say, look, yeah, we're villains. Yeah, we made bad choices, but we're trying to fix our problems. And that's why I love the Oz storyline in season 3, because, especially with Regina, because it drew those parallels of Zelena gives into her jealousy, she chooses her darkness, she chooses her bad choices. Regina chose to use light magic to defeat Zelena. And this is the difference between Regina and Zelena, is that one considers herself a victim of circumstance. I can't change the outcome. I can't change my fate. Regina says, screw fate. I'm going to take what I want. I want my happiness, and I'm going to get it. I may get crapped on at every turn and corner, but I'm still going to work for it and reach for it. And that's what got lost in this whole heroes and villains, darkness, whatever.
Yeah, soapbox. We're all going to get on our soapbox here. Plenty of soapboxes to go around.
And I can see a nugget of a good idea in this whole thing.
But
it just
there was a lot
came
of stuff
off
that fell short.
It's just that I mean there were bright points. I mean, I loved some bits of, we got to hear more. I mean, this whole Queens of Darkness, it seems like, they did the Frozen thing because Disney and ABC, and they're like, they know that Frozen is hot. So it's like, we need to get Frozen on Once Upon a Time as quickly as possible. So they did the Frozen story arc in 4A, and it was fabulous. But then they realized, crap, we still have a whole second half of the season we have to do. What can we do? Okay, well, what characters have we not brought in yet?
And they just brought them all in for no reason than to bring them in.
They brought in Ursula, proper Ursula this time, not Regina pretending to be Ursula. They brought Maleficent back. And then they brought in Cruella de Vil. And we're like, okay, great. These are like 3 of like the creepiest villains that Disney has, and they managed to get, the Chernabog in there for a hot second, which was awesome, there were all these.
And they'd already set up the Fantasia connection.
There were these various, connections to Fantasia, and I was like, okay, this is awesome, and yeah, we got some good Ursula story. We find out what her true happy ending is, and she got hers. That's the thing. Ursula got her happy ending. Maleficent kind of did, but, where it goes from here is up in the air right now. It's because it depends on what they decide to do with season 5. And Cruella, as far as...
Lily's father.
Yeah, and Cruella at the moment, because, Once Upon a Time world is a lot like the Marvel, universe where,
Maleficent was dead.
Yeah, you can die, but you're not necessarily staying dead. But at the moment, Cruella is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you gave 2 out of the 3 their happy ending, and one of them fell off a cliff.
Just so you could quote unquote prove that Emma Swan was going to turn dark. And part of me was like, if she was going to turn super dark, wouldn't she have done it like in her childhood before she knew what she was? Because she made some bad choices, and so like not her darkness was not entirely eradicated from all that. And then just kind of going back to with the Frozen story arc, another big problem I have with this is like you have the story of the Snow Queen of Ingrid, and where you see her at the end realize that she has made a mistake with unleashing the spell of Shattered Sight. And in the end, she's like, I have to stop this. I have to do something to stop this, which is totally different than pretty much, most of the one-off villains Once Upon a Time has done. Like Korra, she was awful from start to finish. Pan was awful from start to finish. Selena was awful from start to finish. Ingrid, at the end of that story arc, it was like, I screwed up. I need to correct this mistake. She had to kill herself to stop the spell, because she's like pleading with Elsa and Emma and Anna, like, you found each other, your sisters, your best friends, be the family that I could never have, that I could never do. And it's like, that is one of the most beautiful redemption stories this show has done. And then you follow it up with a bunch of villains saying, we need to get this author to give us all of our happy endings, and Rumple doing
Rumple
stuff. And it's just like, follow her example. It's like, it's not like you don't have a positive example of this. And that's,
yeah.
It just frustrated me.
It's like they didn't read the manual on how to be a villain.
No.
Like these are, and it's like choose your own adventure. It's like, you choose to do this or do that, and by that turn to page this and follow this and it's like, no, not even. And with Rumple, like, I fully admit that I enjoy Rumple. as a character, and I love Robert's portrayal of Rumple. And he has, even in this, he had moments where the not obsessed with being the Dark One and having these powers, Rumple would emerge, and I'm like, yes, that is what we need. And then he would take like 20 steps backwards, and I'm like, oh, just, can you not learn? And he knew what it was doing to him. His heart was literally turning black, and he was watching it happen, and he knew what was going to happen, and he did nothing to try and change it, except rely on the author.
I'm wondering too, with him bringing in Maleficent in that, when Maleficent stole Belle's heart, I'm just wondering if he kind of was like, oh crap, maybe bringing them back to help me do this wasn't such a good idea.
But then it didn't matter anyway.
Stole Belle's heart. Is it Regina?
No, Regina stole Belle's heart.
Oh, Regina, I'm sorry. I thought it was Maleficent for a second there.
No.
Sorry.
No, Regina stole it. And then so who did have? Because it wasn't Regina had it,
and then Will stole it.
Will stole it. Belle's heart got passed around, literally and figuratively.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Poor Belle.
Because I thought I had a vision of Maleficent sitting in Regina's office.
She was
guarding it.
This is what it was, because Emma and Regina went off on a road trip to find
Lily.
To find Lily, which whatever.
Yeah.
And she gave Maleficent Belle's heart for safekeeping, because Maleficent wanted Regina and Emma. She came in with this whole teary, oh, go find my daughter, blah, 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 sort of thing. I'm like, you are the great and powerful, evilest of evil, Maleficent, and you're sitting here, I mean, I understand it. You're looking for your daughter. And, you know, I just, you're not the Maleficent it's kind of like that, anyway. So yeah, Maleficent did have Belle's heart, but Regina gave it to her to say, hey, we're coming back for this, but you hold on to this and keep Rumple in check.
Yeah,
and we'll keep up our end of the bargain.
It was going to get crushed, and
yeah, that's true. So Maleficent did double cross Rumple in some way, but that episode, Enter the Dragon, that was the one with the flashback of Regina saying, you know, and she's being taught by Rumple, and she's like, screw you, I'm going to go find someone who's really going to teach me dark magic. And she finds Maleficent as this sad shell of her former self. She can't even become a dragon anymore. And they hint at this story, this other part of the Sleeping Beauty story where Aurora's mother was the actual Sleeping Beauty from the story, and Maleficent was the villain who tried to take away her happy ending, and it didn't happen. So Maleficent is like in this sleeping curse induced stupor of, oh, I suck, you know. And young Regina meets her and like, oh, you're not who I thought you were supposed to be. And I was like, you know what, I want to know like about the Sleeping Beauty, like that past story that you're alluding to, that
story on
that would have been so good. Instead, you've got Aurora going, I will defeat you like my mother did before you. I can't stand Once Upon a Time Aurora. I just can't. She's too much. She's just too much for me. And Maleficent's just like, poke, sleeping curse, shut up. I'm like, I was sitting there going, oh, thank you. It's like, I want to see the whole Aurora's mother and King Stephen's story with Maleficent, because I'm like, that sounds pretty awesome. And then they end up having this milksop of a daughter, and I'm just like, eh. But yeah. Just there were good ideas here, just very poorly put together. And maybe the fact that they put Frozen, that they did the Frozen storyline first so they didn't have enough time to work it in. Maybe, but I honestly think the Frozen storyline worked better than this did.
Yeah, like I'm thoroughly convinced they focused all their energies on Frozen and like puttered out.
Sure they did.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe they should have made Frozen the whole
season.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, then I wouldn't want them to stretch it out too much, because
I feel like if they had tried to make a full season, it would have been unnecessarily padded, and it would have dragged on too long.
Yeah,
and we would be fixed by the end of the season.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
So maybe what they should have done
was like the perfect amount of story for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And maybe they should have introduced the author sooner and introduced and say, hey, this is the author, and then
they did kind of
with the alternate universe. Well, sooner than we thought they were, the way they were setting it up. But at the time, it was like he was kind of a letdown.
Yeah,
I
had the author,
and then they had all this. Yeah, and he had all these shenanigans with going off to find Lily, but they didn't really set that up very well.
No, well, I mean, they set up Lily as a character and her relationship with Emma during the Frozen storyline, at least somewhat.
Well, yeah, but you didn't know that she was important until later, and it was just kind of like, oh, really? You're just gonna? It kind of felt like you're recycling that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
it seems like maybe the author could have been its own storyline without the Lily Maleficent thing, and had the Lily Maleficent thing be its own storyline, and they could have fleshed them out better as their own distinct storylines, trying to have these two storylines converge, and the only thing connecting the two of them was the potential for Emma to become dark.
Yeah. Which, again, I don't buy, because she's had so many opportunities to go dark.
Right.
You know, from her growing up in the foster system to, you know, when she discovered her magic, or, you know, any number of things. And she's proven time and time and time again that she is a hero. She is on the side of good. She is, like, Cora could not take her heart from her. You know, she is like the lightest light magic, you know, the savior, the whatever, you know, all these good things. And they're, like, trying to entice her to the darkness by, kill Cruella because she's going to kill your son. And it's just sort of like, well, yeah, because she thinks Henry is in danger, and she doesn't know that Cruella can't hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in that part of the storyline, I'm like, that was not very well done.
Yeah.
And I didn't. The only time I bought into Emma going dark is, frankly, at the end of the finale when she accepts, when she did. But she did it to save everybody else, and to save Regina's happy ending, and to stop all these things. And she has that moment of, you know, you got the darkness out of me once, you got to do it again, telling her parents this. And I'm like, okay, that's the only reason to have that storyline of them getting rid of her darkness, is for that line to make sense. And you're setting all this up for one line at the end of the finale, and I'm like, that didn't work.
Yeah. And
that is a...
Emma supposedly killing Cruella, that wasn't her turning evil. That was her protecting her son.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cruella had a gun pointed at Henry's head. If I remember correctly, or close to it. So that was Mama
She did,
Bear.
and they were on the... That was. And that's... And you know, and then Snow panics, like, oh, she's going to hurt Cruella with, you know... And it's just like, well, you didn't get there in time, Mama Snow.
Yeah.
Snow, that's your grandson.
It's like, oh, we must save Cruella because she's going to kill her. And it's like, well, not out of any vengeful... I mean, Snow, you would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
If your child, or, you know, your someone you cared about was in trouble, and you know, threatened of death. I'm like, I am convinced. And Charming did nothing. I liked Charming during the Frozen storyline. This storyline,
Charming was the one that opened up the author out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Charming needed his.
They need to give Charming like season or something, because he really is not done.
He did really well in the Frozen arc. I keep going back to this. Like, they gave Charming a good episode. They gave Belle a good episode. And I'm like, I think, Charming, you need to not be with your wife. You do good when you're with your daughter, or when you're with Hook and you're teaming up that way. But when you're with your wife, you're pointless.
Yeah.
I hate saying that because I really like Charming, but...
Dating advice to gold. When those two had the team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was... Like, I mean, give Josh Dallas something good to do.
Right.
Don't make him stand in the shadow of Jennifer Goodwin.
I don't know if they need to send Snow off somewhere, because, I mean, Snow is... She's almost like Rumple, where she's just a one-note character. We've come to expect Rumple being devious and, you know, just obsessed with, you know, making sure he keeps his power and getting what he wants and that sort of thing. And Snow spends the entire time fretting and worrying about her family and trying to protect him and being the pretty sweet princess that we expect Snow White to be. And it's like, you know, other than
Rainbow Sparkle Poo.
Right, yeah. And it's like, you know, she was, like I said, utterly disbelievable. I could not take her seriously at all in the alternate universe, you know, villain, you know, happy ending storyline. She was more believable when the spell of Shattered Sight had taken over.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was mostly played for laughs.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was played for laughs, but it was more believable. And
It's true.
That's the thing, and it's just I don't know. They need to do something
I don't know
with
either.
Snow to give her more depth or something, because she can't keep playing the princess protector of her family and my children and all this stuff and running around in her Mary Margaret outfits all concerned all the time. It's just I don't know.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And
they do
and,
such
that's what
I don't know.
well, the episode Whiteout gave David so much depth of character when you find out, he used to be kind of this, shy, not really cowardly sort of guy, but then Anna taught him how to stand up to bullies and things, and and you see him pleading with Elsa, you've got to melt the ice because you're gonna be stuck there and you're not living, you're just surviving, and it's not a good life. I'm like, that scene for Charming, that's what Snow needs, something like that for her to, just to really say, just something with conviction and something with that I'm going to believe that, yes, she really is. I'm like, yeah, season 1 made her this bandit that's running around in leather pants, and she's not, she's living on the, sleeping on the ground and stuff, but I'm just sort of like, don't buy it. Mm-hmm. She's still Snow White. She's still singing with the birdies. She has her little bluebird painting in the mayor's office. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, not anymore.
I feel like we
take a fireball to it.
Regina did take a fireball to it. That is true. Well, we've harped on what was disappointing. Shall we try to find some things that we did enjoy about this part?
Okay, good things. Story? Good things. The Disney movie references. Mm-hmm. Ursula singing Fathoms Below. Mm-hmm. Cruella listening to the radio and having this 1920s like jazz version of Cruella de Vil, the song from 101 Dalmatians.
Yes.
Loved it.
That was... And the fact that they treated that as a realm of like, this isn't like actual 1920s our world. It's just, because they have the different realms of storytelling, and they said, I was like, so it's like they're in this perpetual Great Gatsby sort of world. Mm-hmm. That's these realms of literature, and I was just like, I mean, I don't enjoy the Great Gatsby, but I mean, I get it, and I was like, this is kind of cool, like historical time periods, because I love historical fiction, and so I'm like, if somewhere there's like historical, like all time periods of historical fiction in these storytelling realms, I'd be like, do something with this, guys. Yeah. Like, look at what you're building. You have great potential here. And then the author gives her magic, and I did love what they did with Cruella, in that she is beyond redemption, and she doesn't care that she is beyond redemption.
No.
She relishes being evil, and I'm like, yes, this is what you need. We need more of this, and then they kill her off.
Yeah.
Like,
for now.
We just need a villain that needs to be villain. Well, yes, for now. She may come back and be like, I'm going to get you.
Well,
and then find out Emma's dark when it's like, oh.
Well, and too, when Zelena came back from the dead, I'm just wondering if she and the author had met sometime before. Just the way that they were kind of trading looks with each other when Regina and Zelena have their little showdown in the basement of the
hospital,
Storybrooke General Hospital. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden she turns green. It's just like, I wonder if that's.
I mean, because Zelena, because in that alternate universe, Zelena did get her happy ending, which is taking away Regina's happy ending.
Right.
It's not necessarily that she wanted to be with Robin Hood, just that being with Robin Hood takes away Regina's happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how that's.
So that, I mean,
next season.
Yeah, I'm I'm a little shaky on what they're doing with Zelina.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to go back into soapbox mode, because I did love that episode with where they go back to Oz and they reveal that Zelina is pretending to be Maid Marian, which I was like, dude, that was clever. Like,
yeah,
that
I did not see that coming.
I didn't see it coming at all, and I love how they worked it in. And I love in that episode how it kind of felt like, oh, we haven't seen much Captain Swan this episode. Here, have some flashbacks of them falling in love. I was like, I'll take it. And, in the context of Zelina, she went time traveling with them, and it's like, oh, wow. So, I mean, the whole pregnancy subplot could get a little sketchy.
Yeah.
But I do like that she's back and is, just... She is unapologetic in her evilness, and I'm like, we need more of this, because this is how this is how conflict is going to be created. She does not care that she is ruining these people's lives, and it is just delicious to watch.
Zelina is like Loki.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She's like, I am here to cause mischief, and I don't care.
Yep.
And they both like green, so there's that too.
Yes. I hadn't thought of that. I love that connection.
Yeah.
And I love Regina's comment about the strictest visitation policy ever.
Yeah.
And Regina's right. Zelina's kind of living on borrowed time once baby
whatever
shows up.
Baby Wicked Hood shows up. I mean, that child.
And the thing is,
child, talk about potential for darkness.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, first off, okay, now they're back in Storybrooke. Zelina is in the bottom of the hospital. Robin is with Regina. Where's Roland?
Roland last is with Will.
He's with Little John. Or Will, yeah.
With Will.
Okay. Second of all, when we find out that Marion was actually Zelina, and I forget what episode it was, but at the end,
that she's kissing him.
She's kissing him, and Roland is like there on the bed just watching TV. Like, obviously, this is a tiny little apartment they're living in. Poor Roland's probably scarred. if that apartment is as small as it appears to be, considering how babies are made to begin with.
With Robin being none the wiser.
Yeah.
Could be.
Unless Roland was at school or something. Like, what did they do all day when they were living in New York?
Well, she's having a baby.
Well, yeah, I knew they did. They at least had some free time to themselves. But beyond that, like, was Robin working? Did Roland go to school? And Marion / Zelina was, just playing mommy housewife or what? There's stuff I want to know what was going on. That's the thing.
It's unclear.
It is unclear, and we may get clarification, next in the future. But it's just.
It could be.
I
mean, he did chase down that pickpocket, and then he went to the Wizard of Oak.
Yeah.
I loved that. And that episode had a hidden Mickey in the drawer.
Yeah.
When he was looking for the potion to save Rumpelstiltskin, because he has a code of honor and he can't let Rumpel die, even though we're just like, just let the...
Well, and now, Marion was actually Zelina, and then during the Frozen storyline, Regina was working her butt off trying to save who she thought was Marion and Robin's, wife and the mother of his child, when really if she just let her die, she would have been killing Zelina.
And I totally wanted Zelina to be all like, oh, that stupid Ice Queen thinks she could freeze me. Like, okay, so if this is Zelina, couldn't she have done something to stop herself from getting frozen? Because she's got magic and maybe the Snow Queen is just that powerful.
But then again, she didn't have her magic necklace.
Oh, Good point.
So maybe she was stuck.
Yeah.
That could be it too. I don't know.
Maybe.
It could be. I mean, there's any number of explanations that I will accept. With
Right.
That,
But we want
anyway,
those explanations.
Yes, that's true.
We
Anyway,
demand
I'm
answers.
glad they had Zelina and Rebecca Mader. Is just that scene with Zelina and Rumple in the hospital. When Zelina is threatening Rumple, I was just like, holy shit! That was just.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that was brilliant. That was. Oh.
So there are some good things in this storyline.
And Captain Hook, I can't let this go by without saying
the alternate universe Hook.
Well, no, not just alternate universe Hook.
Hook in general.
The Ursula. Yeah, Hook in general. The Ursula storyline, which after that episode, Hook kind of fell to the background, which really annoyed me, but that's my problem.
More Colin on the screen!
I need Colin on my screen. Where are you? And not just holding up the wall in the background. Get him in front and center. Jeez. Anyway, but no, that whole storyline where he meets young Ursula and it's supposed to be, because it was foreshadowed that he did something terrible to Ursula, and Emma's curious about it, and he's like, he doesn't want to talk about it, so they don't really have a fight, but it's sort of like, okay, what are you keeping from me? And then Emma says, I don't care that you're keeping the secret from me. I know something happened. You tell me in your own time. And they just have that little moment in the sheriff's station, and I'm just like, oh. So then we finally get to that episode, and Hook is trying to use, he's saying, I can give, or he says, he's trying to use the fact he can give Ursula's happy ending back to her, as a way to find out what Rumple and his Queens of Darkness are doing. And like that episode, like every beat was just pitch perfect, like you said, Rachel, when she's young Ursula singing Fathoms Below, and it's like it's a skew on the traditional Little Mermaid story, where she wants to run away from her father because he's making her kill innocent people and run these ships aground with her voice. And I loved Ernie Hudson as King Poseidon. It was so good. Oh, he was great. And then she runs away. And Hook, he's in the flashbacks. He's big time, pirate captain, and he's got the terrible, awful reputation of just being this awful person. But he's just a big softy, and I'm just like, I knew you were only terrible by reputation and not in deed. Makes me think of Dread Pirate Roberts and Wesley in Princess Bride. Because he's like, oh yeah, I'll take you wherever you want to go, and she wants to go to Glower Haven, which, if you've seen Little Mermaid, is name dropped when Prince Eric says something about there was a princess from Glower Haven that he was supposed to marry, and he didn't want, and he decided not to. So it's like a blink and you miss it, but I remembered that. And there's that whole storyline with Hook. He I'm trying to remember how, because it was kind of really complicated in how it all worked out.
Because Hook was doing something for Pan. Because Hook was getting on Smee's case for
eating the cakes.
Oh yeah, eating the cake. Yeah, they were going. Yeah, they're making a cake run for Pan. I'm just like, oh geez, this is what the most evil creature in all of Neverland had you do all the time.
Making runs to Betty Crocker or what?
Yeah. You need more cheesecake for the boys or something. But yeah, then Hook, like he has that standoff with Poseidon. Poseidon's like, I'm going to take my daughter back and I'm going to kill you because all humans are terrible because they murdered my wife and everything. And Hook just says, fine, I will take away the last thing that really matters to you. And he takes away Ursula's voice, which is, you know, the only thing they have left of Ursula's mother. And Ursula is just, and she, you know, she's driven to become this evil sea witch, but she does. And oh my gosh, that girl who played young Ursula, so good. So fabulous. I can't say enough good about this episode. Yeah,
it was a bright spot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very bright spot. And then at the end when Hook comes back and he gets the Jolly Roger back, and I'm like, yay, the Jolly. He can move out of Granny's and have his own place again and have Emma over and date night. Made me happy. And Ariel's back, and they name dropped Elsa because somehow she shrunk the boat and put it in the bottle, and I don't know how, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
And Hook has Ursula's voice in the vault, and his hook is the key to his little safe there, and I was like, yay. And they have the little showdown between Hook and Ursula, and she knocks him out and almost kills him, but Ariel's there to save him because she was stuck in the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it bigger. And all that. And so Hook brings Poseidon to Ursula, and they have their little reconciliation in Storybrooke, and I'm just like, oh, I don't care how you got here. I don't care that it's kind of convoluted. The performance makes it so worth it. And then they have that scene between Hook and Emma, and he's just like, and he's starting to have his doubts because everybody's, you know, all freaked out about this author, and he's like, I used to be a villain. I could lose my happy ending. And Emma's like, your happy ending? What's your happy ending? And break my heart into a million tiny pieces and stomp them and grind them into the floor. Colin O'Donoghue, I hate you forever for this, but I love you at the same time. How do you make me love you even more? You just do. It's like he has this perfect pitch perfect performance of telling Emma that she is his happy ending. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yes, one villain has got it figured out, and now you've all made him doubt himself because you all are saying, we're villains and we can't have our happy ending. It's like, right there! He's got his happy ending!
He's a reformed villain.
Mm-hmm.
He's a reformed villain, but, you know, even...
Therein lies the difference.
That's true.
Is Hook
I mean,
and Regina have seen that the path they were going down was getting them absolutely nowhere, and they were miserable, and so they decided to turn over a new leaf, and fate is repaying them for deciding to not be bad guys. And meanwhile, Rumple wouldn't know redemption if it kicked him in the butt and ran him over with the car.
Yeah. Even though there was LinkedIn flashes, but no.
And you know, you saying that, Rachel, kind of reminds me of that scene in the episode during the Frozen arc where Rumple takes Hook's heart, rips it out of his chest, and there's like this moment where Rumple looks at the heart, and he is expecting it to be dark. You know, look at Hook's heart, that's supposed to be dark and villainous, and it's not. I mean, Hook's heart is bright red. I mean, it's got some dark spots, yes, but so does everybody else's. Mm-hmm. And it's just, and he's got this momentary look of shock, like, oh, you're not as bad as I've told, because he just assumes that Hook is just as bad as he is. So he's like, oh, well, you know, you're a villain, you're awful, you can't change. Yes, he can. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, is Rumple never gets it, is that these villains, they can change and they can do better. And Rumple had an opportunity with Belle,
and Belle told him that too in the finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's like, you could have had your happy ending.
And he's like, you had your happy ending and you cracked it away. Mm-hmm. It's like you had it. It was there. All you had to do was choose to take it. And and he's sitting there, he's laying there dying of a blackened heart because
he realized it way too late.
Way too late.
Unless it was the power of the Dark One that was overriding him every step of the way.
And see, that's what I would have liked to have explored, since then they just kind of dumped this whole
seen just a bit of what would have happened if they couldn't have gotten to him in time, and it was Dark One, because when he told Belle, "You get out of here," because you don't want to stick around once the man you know as Rumple is gone. Yeah, that would have been interesting to see, because I think Bobby could have pulled it off.
Oh, I bet you he could.
Well,
I bet you he could. And now Rumple is the Dark One has been eradicated from him, so that means we're going to be dealing with pretty much a whole new character.
Right. So this is going to be an interesting.
Because his heart is literally a clean slate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now.
So he could do anything. He could choose to be anything he wants at this point. So it'll be interesting, and I hope that they don't just default him to, he was a coward before he became the Dark One. I'm like, no. Make him learn from all these centuries of being a coward and hiding behind his darkness and all his dark magic and all these terrible things he's done. Make him learn from this. If you do not make this character grow and learn from this, I'm done.
I'm thinking there may be a few people there that will make him remember saying, "Hey, this."
Yes.
This.
Yes.
I'm thinking Belle. I'm thinking Hook.
Regina might even be like, "Hey, dude, no."
Yeah.
And
you mentor me, I'm going to mentor you a little here.
And you know what? That would be an interesting dynamic for them to explore, where he, the master has become the teacher. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I mean, I'm open to this now that they've opened this new dimension for Rumple to be a different sort of character and grow and learn from these mistakes.
Well, and
don't waste this opportunity.
Yeah. Well, and like Holly said, he's gonna need somebody to mentor him, and that's one thing that I hope that they have. So because Emma's off God knows where now that she's the Dark One.
Yes.
So obviously, at least some of the storybook crew is going to run off and try and find her and save her. But, if they do like they normally do, where it's like, it'll probably be Snow and Charming and maybe Regina. Who does that leave behind to mentor Rumple? Belle, the fairies, Granny, Red. It's like...
Although I have a theory.
Will.
Yeah,
what's your theory?
Because, so at the end of finale where they have the apprentice, and he's telling them with his dying breath that the only one fully defeats the Dark One is Merlin, so they have to go.
Which I called that. I knew Merlin was going to be involved somehow. I didn't know how, but I knew he was going to be involved.
So everyone else at this point is run off. There are 3 people in the room who, when he says this, Emma, Henry, and Hook, which Henry is now the author. Like I know he broke the quill, and
which I totally did not see that coming. I know you said you saw that coming. I did not.
No. Well, I hoped that Henry would become the next author. I hoped that he would, because I'm like, that would just fit so well, and he did, and I was very glad. I'm like, yes, Henry needs more to do. I need Henry to have things, which that was one part of the finale I liked with it, that it was Henry saving his family, because he's just been he's been kind of relegated to the background a little bit, and I didn't like that. So I'm like, let's bring him in.
The showdown that he had with Isaac. That
was
it's just like, where's my family?
That was awesome.
We need to talk.
Yes, that was props to Jared Gilmore. I give him all the applause. He was great in that. Anyway, so there's 3 people that know.
To mess with.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So anyway, so those 3 people, Emma, Henry, and Hook, they're the ones who know about Merlin. That that they need to go, find him. And then at the end, when Emma is going to draw the darkness into her, she doesn't. It isn't her parents that step up and like, no, don't do this. It's Hook. And and they have that moment where she tells him that she loves him, and he's like begging her not to, but at the same time he kind of knows that she's the only one who can, and it's like the final shot before the camera turns and they show the dagger with Emma Swan's name on it is Hook looking back into where she's disappeared and the dagger falls. And so I'm like, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm pleading with the Once Upon a Time writers room, make Hook be a more proactive part of this. Okay, yes, get the Charmings involved because it's their daughter and all these things, but Hook has a vested interest in this, in getting Emma back, even probably more so than her parents. And I just, it's not just, it's true love. I mean,
it's true love.
Season one was all about Snow and Charming getting together and working through all the obstacles that they encountered to their true love story and having their happy ending. They have their happy ending. They got it. I mean, yes, these little these things come up and they've got to deal with them, but Hook and Emma, Hook and Emma have been through a lot of things, and even this season, but they weren't emphasized enough, or they didn't get the, and I'm thinking of the Hook losing his heart storyline that didn't have as satisfying a conclusion as it could have had. And I'm like, okay, there's this drama, there's this angst, there is this huge conflict that Emma is being consumed by the darkness. She has become the Dark One. Who knows what that's going to do to her character, her personality. And back when Rumpel was the Dark One, Belle almost brought him out of it, but it wasn't quite enough. I want to see Hook bring Emma out of the darkness for good, and to defeat the Dark One, and maybe Hook needs to work with Merlin to make this happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but if it becomes a charming grand quest with Hook as the sidekick, I'm going to throw something, because it's gotta be Hook that does this. And he has to believe that he's a hero, that he is worthy of Emma, because there's something in him still that does not believe that he is worthy of Emma Swan, even though he loves her and he would do anything for her, and he was the one in season 3 saying, this is your family, stay here, and I want to be with you, I want to be part of your family, and all these things, improving himself. And how many times does the man have to prove himself before you say, yes, you are the hero of this particular story, you get to shine, you get to do this, you are the best freaking character you have on this show, let the man do something awesome, please.
And another thought just crossed my mind.
Tell us your thought.
Okay.
Let Cressy catch her breath.
Okay. Knowing Rumpel's heart is
I was up on my elephant.
Rumpel's heart's a clean slate.
Right.
What about his memories of him being the Dark One? Depending on how things go, maybe Rumpel will come along to say, hey, here's what might be going through Emma's mind as the Dark One. Here's some of the tricks that I've pulled to warn you guys.
As long as he doesn't try to take it over.
Right.
I don't think he would again, though. I don't know.
No, I don't. I think you're probably right.
He became the Dark One in the first place for his son, and his son is dead now. So.
Right. But then he became so addicted to the power that he just couldn't let it go. But and that's something that hopefully they explore. Is we saw the person who was the Dark One before Rumpel for a little bit, and then Rumpel became the Dark One, and he's been the Dark One the entire time. And we saw what it did to him, and we know what kind of person he was before he became the Dark One. It'd be interesting to see, is the power of being the Dark One, does it corrupt and affect everyone the same, or is who the person is before they acquire the power make a difference on what the power of the Dark One does to the person?
And we don't know a whole lot of mythology of the Dark One. They don't, because who knows if everybody else, all the previous Dark Ones, if their memories haven't been transferred to that sword, and the new owners kind of have that, the new Dark Ones have that knowledge too.
That would be interesting. And Rachel, you said something in there in your explanation that he's addicted to the power, and I know last year at Comic-Con, Robert Carlyle was talking about this, and he's, Rumple is a power addict, and he likened it, like he actually talked to people, or that was part of his performances. You're addicted to this, and I've talked to people who've been addicted to drugs and alcohol and different things like that, who are, they use the term recovering addict, that you're never fully cured of being an addict, even if you haven't touched the stuff for years and years, and they have this thing where they're like, they will not, if they are fully, they're recovering, and they are serious about staying sober, they will not touch alcohol, drugs, whatever,
and they'll try and stay away from situations where they could be exposed to it and have the temptation there.
They change their friends, they change their entire lifestyle, and it's a very difficult thing for them to do. And I kind of wonder if liking that, in this case, to that, like maybe that that he will be like, yeah, I was addicted to this. I don't want to go back to that person anymore.
I'll give you the information, but I'm staying put.
I'll give you the information. Yeah, maybe he'll stay in Storybrooke, and he won't want to. And I'll tell you what I remember, and anything that I can be of help, because he knows what Emma's going through, and and maybe hopefully she doesn't. I mean, she did that as a way to save somebody. So hopefully it'll affect her differently.
And that's what I'm wondering. Is Rumple can potentially give insight. But how much help is it going to be if the power affects Emma differently because of who she was before the power took her over? Because she was a good, decent person, a strong person, a person who loved and cared and, fought for what was right and was the savior. Unlike Rumple, who was this coward who, would cry if a mouse looked at him wrong,
Yeah, and he retreated into the darkness to hide his cowardliness.
Right.
And Emma, she's brave. She uses light magic, and she pushes back against the things that are telling her to be one way or another. And so it's like, she's probably got. I mean, it's going to manifest itself in her differently. It has to. And, maybe the dark magic and the light magic within her are conflicting, and maybe that causes a different sort of problem. And, just how you do that. And it's like, how are they going to destroy all this darkness? And I'm like, okay, you've got...
Like a Jekyll Hyde.
They have some... Yeah, that would be really interesting, too. To go into that. They're... Yeah, let's go back to the Frankenstein thing, and there's potential for another flashback type story. Why the heck not? And we don't know where Emma is. Maybe she's like poofing throughout all the different realms, all the different storytelling realms, and trying to fight the darkness.
She could have landed smack dab and bumped right into Merlin.
She could have. We don't. She just could be just trying. I'm thinking of I don't know if you guys, any of you have seen Legend of Korra. Mitch, have you?
Huh?
Korra? The
so.
Animated. Okay, some reason I was thinking you had, but never mind. Anyway, because there's a plot. I'm going to go on a little tangent here and explain.
Oh yes. I sorry, my brain froze.
Oh, I was like, Avatar, that thing.
Yes, I have seen it. Yes, sorry.
Okay. So there's.
And I was thinking of Korra from Once Upon a Time. And
not that Korra.
Yeah, different Korra. Okay. Okay, so there's a backstory of the Legend of Korra goes into the first Avatar, and it starts out with there's. Sorry. Go on.
I think we may have lost Chrissy. Yep. No, she was going to go on a tangent, and Skype is saying, no tangent. Sorry. And none of us have watched.
Should I continue from where she was?
Well, I don't know what kind of parallel she was planning on.
The thing is, I don't know what she was gonna. I know this backstory she's talking about, but
yeah.
I don't know where she was going with it.
Yeah, I don't either. So. Well, until her she's here, but she's having audio issues. So hopefully she's here, but not here. So.
Oh boy.
Well, I see there's a little loading row of dots on her icon. So
these are the things we deal with, folks. This is real life. I know I've said this before. So. In a nutshell, it's the good, the bad, and the disappointing. It's the only way to
well, we were supposed to get more backstory on why Will wound up in Storybrooke, and
well, that's true.
That got put to the wayside.
Yeah,
which was kind of a shame.
Yeah, I understand that they want to possibly bring in as many characters as possible, but after a while it gets crowded, and you can only have so many characters visible and doing stuff in Storybrooke. Have it be feasible to have a
or
that and
maybe
that's the thing.
Maybe not do a story.
Right.
Like they have in 2. Just have a storyline running all the way through.
Yeah, like season 1, it was Emma trying to finally believe in magic and believe that she's the chosen one and the savior, and it was a nice. But for that's an example though, because there was so much character introduction in season. That's example, but at the same time, if they're going to keep bringing these characters in, we have to at least get some story, at least some backstory with these characters. But it's like you can only, if you're going to do these half seasons. You got to realize that you're going to have half the time you want to tell. And I don't know what happened in the writer's room for this story arc, but it's just
because you could have been things interwoven a little bit more for A to kind of lead into 4B. That would have been,
yeah. So I don't know. Now all we can do is speculate on what's going to happen for season 5. If 5 will be a full season, if they're going to do, 2 halves again. Right. So I would kind of hope that maybe 5 is a full season.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I mean, because this whole
big storyline. Find Merlin, find Emma.
Yeah. So, and it especially now introducing Merlin. Now obviously it was just a name drop. Merlin as an actual character, and we've got to, there's going to be the hunt for Emma and the hunt for Merlin, but
I'm wondering if you're not going to get any Merlin Blue Fairy backstory.
Yeah, it's like, where has Merlin the ability to vanquish the power of the Dark One? Where has he been when Rumpel has been doing his thing? Hey, she's back.
Welcome back.
Yes. Okay, let me tell you what I was telling you before. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So in Legend of Korra, you've got these 2 spirits. Rava is the light spirit, Vatu is the dark spirit, and they are fighting. They are fighting throughout the centuries and the millennia, just because of because you have yin and yang, and there's the balance of, this man named Juan, who he becomes the first Avatar. He comes along and he separates the two because Batu says, "Oh, she's picking on me. I'm, come save me, and stop her from hurting me and being this bully." So Juan splits the two apart, and the reason that they fight is to keep the world in balance. But then Batu goes off and says, "Haha, I'm separated from the light spirit, and I'm going to go cause all kinds of chaos and darkness and everything." And Rava, says, Rava, and he goes through and learns all the, the elemental bending things, and he becomes the first Avatar because his spirit and Rava's light spirit join together, and so throughout those centuries, the light and the darkness, the light is personified in the Avatar. But my point in bringing all that up was that, Emma, with her light and dark side, I kind of picture her as sort of the light spirit and the dark spirit fighting throughout all the realms. And if one side, if the darkness wins over the light, then everything's going to be destroyed. But if the light wins over the darkness, then everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so that's what I was going there with.
Okay.
That before I was so rudely cut off by Skype. And it's probably a good thing you guys didn't catch me because I swore a lot. I was trying to get back on.
Steve Rogers would not have approved.
Steve Rogers would have been very interested in me, and I'm sorry for that. Anyway, so that was what I was doing.
Yeah, but we
on with what you're saying.
we were speculating on season 5, and I was speculating on Merlin, and just where has Merlin been all this time if he's the only person known to have the power to vanquish the power of the Dark One? What's he been doing? Where has he been? That's true.
And who was the one that gave him the suggestion to tether the power of the Dark One to another human being?
Well, and I wonder what was going on. I wondered what was going on that became the only option. Because, maybe the darkness was consuming everything, and the only way to stop it was to sacrifice one person. What person's life versus, infinite number of realms. I don't know how many storytelling realms there are. Maybe this darkness is threatening all of them. And maybe that whole, getting the darkness out of baby Emma and giving it to baby Lily is kind of a mini version of that. But this is on a much bigger scale, because you saw that dark goo that was swirling around Storybrooke. And the one thing I did love about that final scene was how, they're out in the street and it's nighttime and everything's so dark, and they're like, where did the darkness go? And they're like, it's all around us. And it's like the darkness has blotted out all the light. Like, there aren't even any stars in the sky when they look up. And it's like, I kind of imagine it as this dome over the town, and it's going to pounce on the next person that it sees, and the next viable candidate for it to take over is Regina. And at that point, Emma's like, no, you can't take Regina away because she's gotten her happy ending, and we screwed her over last season, so it's my turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe.
And just Regina too, with her not wanting Emma to sacrifice, I just whoa. I think Regina's really kind of come to respect Emma since season 1. Instead of she's trying to take my son, it's just like, okay, I've gotten to know the woman she was. I've seen what she can do. I know what kind of crap my curse and all that has put her through. She's doing this. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, that shows the growth and character development that Regina has gone through, and I just they've done such wonderful things with Regina and Hook, and it's like, why can't you do that with Charming and Snow and Rumple and just yeah.
I know.
So
Yeah, I know.
and while you were
Regina
yeah, and that's what I was saying, while you were trying to come back, Chrissy, is we were talking about how these half seasons. That's why I'm hoping that season 5 is a full season and not
I hope
two
so
halves.
Too. I hope so too, because
they really need to flesh this out.
They really do, and I think with these other things where they've been doing like Neverland and Oz and Frozen, with those are like one-off stories that they've been telling in this fairy tale sort of realm. But now with the Dark One being part of the greater Once Upon a Time mythology, yes, they need to spend some time with building up where did the first Dark One come from? Where's Merlin? How does this affect all these other realms? Does it? I mean, and another thing that I hope they kind of get away from is shoehorning this story in with the backstory we already have for established characters. And I think that's part of my problem with the Charmings and Rumple and even Regina to an extent, because I am tired of seeing pre-curse evil Queen Regina, because I see Regina as she is now, as she is reformed and she has changed and she has made good decisions. I don't want to be reminded, I don't really want to see her as she used to be. I'm like, she has grown so much, and I'm like, and I see like the whole evil queen thing, and there's all this time between when she threatened Snow White and Charming at their wedding until the time that they enacted the curse, and I'm like, how much time can you squeeze in there before it's like it becomes utterly ridiculous?
Yeah,
I was like, we know the curse was cast.
Yeah,
we know it's broken.
Yeah,
we don't care anymore. That was season 1. Move on.
The only good piece of evil Queen Regina backstory, I think, that was necessary with this whole thing was Zelena being pregnant with Robin Hood's baby and all that, was when we got the backstory with her and they brought Cora back in the flashback, obviously, and we see, we saw Cora do this, being Cora and manipulate and try to convince Regina that the Sheriff of Nottingham is actually Robin Hood and her true love, but showing Regina make the decision to take a potion that makes her infertile. I think is important, because now that shows that Regina cannot have a baby, so Zelena is doing the one thing with Robin that Regina can never do.
Yeah.
And that's important. But other than that, we don't need any more evil Regina.
I don't need any more
flashbacks.
Evil Queen Regina. We've seen it.
And we don't need any more Cora. We know Cora is Cora, and she's like the worst mother in the entire universe.
That's when they said they were bringing her back. I was like, why?
Yeah. It's so unnecessary.
I mean, I think the way it ended in her walking off, I'm thinking that might have been the hopefully last we'll see of her.
We can only hope.
And I was confused because she's in Wonderland and she's banished there. I thought she couldn't come back, but whatever. But we can't get any decent Hook backstory.
Nope, not yet.
I mean, we've had some, but I'm like, I wanted, they've hinted at, he was abandoned as a boy, and his mother died, and his father left him and his brother to, whatever. I'm like, what got them into the military, and how did they, I have images of young Killian Jones just being this little charming little troublemaker, and I just want to see it. I'm like, let's flesh out some of these other characters that you got, because we've seen Regina, we've seen Rumple, we've seen Snow, we've seen Charming to an extent. Although I wouldn't say no to more Charming backstory, because that one we got this year was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, more Belle, more Will.
Oh yeah, more Belle. Please give Belle something to do that isn't
That
pining
isn't
after
running the
Rumble.
library or being in charge of the pawn shop.
Yeah.
She's almost no
Babysitting
character,
baby.
and that makes me so sad that Belle has become this one note. She doesn't really do anything. She's just there to motivate Rumple to be better, and obviously she's been failing at that, but that's not her fault entirely.
No.
No, that was some of Rumple's idiotic choices.
Mm-hmm.
Head
I mean,
wall.
I did like the episode where she meets Anna in flashback. I was like, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, and we were even promised we'll meet Belle's mother. Yeah, she died before the opening title card.
Yeah, I would love to see some more mother-daughter
Yes,
backstory.
let's do this. Bring that lady back, and let's do some more with that, please. We have all these wonderful characters. Like season 1, we got so many of these different characters' backstories when they were cursed, and this was so much fun. And now it's just Rumple, Snowy and Charming, Regina, Rumple, lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Well, and again,
Do something different.
that's why I hope that season 5 is a full season. And other than the intro, the inclusion of Merlin, stick to the characters we have. We don't need to bring in anybody else. Although they kind of dropped that little teaser that maybe there may be at least a subplot of Lily doesn't know who her father is.
I don't know.
It might be Merlin.
It could possibly be Merlin. In that case, good. Then we just only need to introduce one new character.
They were dragons and they did the thing.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm just like, I was very underwhelmed by Lily. I must say, I'm sure there are others who disagree with me, but I just like, I could take her or leave her.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the Lily
anyway.
stuff.
Well, I think I would have enjoyed it more had there been more given to me to enjoy, like more reason to enjoy it, or there wasn't. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, I'm sure. You said you liked it, and that's great. I'm glad. I just it didn't hit me in quite the same way, which is fine.
Yeah. To each their own.
But anyway, exactly. You've got a friend that loved the Neverland story arc, and I didn't.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So.
That's
the one good
Captain Hook,
that's
which I can't figure out.
Yeah, that's the one good thing about Once Upon a Time as a whole is there's something for everyone, which is Disney in a nutshell, really. So.
Pretty much, yeah.
To make a callback with hidden Disney characters, towards the beginning part of Operation Mongoose 2, when Henry's making the run of the town, he actually runs by a kind of like, not like a windmill, but one of the whirligigs, and it's actually Tinkerbell.
I remember that, and I was like, Tinkerbell.
I had to rewind back as Tinkerbell. I would love to have Rose McIver come back, but she's on iZombie. But I mean, if they're both in Canada, it would be nice to maybe just steal her and Dr. Whale away. Just have them do one little itty bitty scene or two.
I know, I miss Tinkerbell, but I'm glad Rose McIver's doing well with iZombie, because iZombie's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I loved Tinkerbell, too.
And one other hidden or reference, speaking of all the Fantasia references, a couple episodes before the finale, I think, and like the very beginning, we see the apprentice talking to like the disembodied voice of of Merlin, I guess, or whatever. It's like talking to a cauldron or something, and the music.
I am Oz.
Yeah, the music underlying is just it's changed, but it just has a few. If you're paying attention, it's just a slight hint at the music from Fantasia with the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have, like, the magic broom. We have a magic broom in there, too, at one point. In the season.
The Robin Hood episode when they're in New York and he's waiting out the hospital for Rumple to come out, there's actually a poster for Aladdin on Broadway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on one of the like a bus stop bench or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but anyway, it was there, and I was like, ha, Aladdin.
Yeah.
They haven't done much with Aladdin, so I don't know. Maybe that's one that they can. They did a little bit in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. They had Agrabah and Jafar and some of that, but not in the main show.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
those of us that are, the especially those of us of a certain generation, things like the song references and all this little stuff. It's like the bigger Disney fanatic you are, the more references you're going to get. It's kind of like the Marvel universe, if you're more into the more you were into the comic books, the more references you're going to get to those of us that, just watch the Marvel movies. But
yep.
So,
and it's not like you have to get it, but if you do know what it is, it's an extra little treat.
Yes. Some sprinkles on the sundae. So. Ready to get off our soapboxes? Have we worn
I think we
the
got
soapboxes down a little bit?
Yeah, we got it. I mean, there were.
It wasn't Frozen.
Frozen was awesome. Yeah, it wasn't Frozen. Frozen was. Yeah, but there were good points about 4B anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now my question is, it's going to be interesting since Henry snapped the quill into, and he's the author. What's going to happen now? Just they can make their own fates, their own. They can do what they need to. They're in charge of their own endings, but just what that's going to cause if Merlin's going to be like, hey, we have those books and authors for a reason. If there's definitely something there,
right?
Too.
Mm-hmm. The original remit of the author is to just record what happens. Use the special quill to write what happens.
To create things for himself.
Rather than just record them. And I'm sure Henry can record just fine with another writing instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure he will. And I think it was less. And maybe with Henry's new role as the author, he's going to be not compelled, but encouraged by this this power, this new magic, however it's going to manifest itself, to seek out Merlin and say, hey, what do I do? How do I do this? And teach, tell me what I need to do. And I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be overly complicated. I kind of feel like it's going to be intuitive to him. Mm-hmm. Just because he already has that connection to the storybook anyway,
right?
And maybe he'll learn how to make a new quill, and I mean then they'll find a new way, a new source of ink for him to write. Because I don't see, I see Henry as being, he's gonna do the author job right.
Mm-hmm.
If you give him the opportunity to do it, he'll do it, and he'll respect the office, and he'll do everybody proud. And that's one thing I'm so
just like he told Charming in season 2, give me something to do. I want to do something.
Yes, and I'm so happy they have given Henry a role in the fairy tale world, because there's so many times they're like, oh, you were born in the land without magic, so you don't get to go to fairy tale land. I'm like, bull crap, he doesn't get to go. His parents were both from fairy tale land. He's got fairy tale heritage out the wazoo. Get him into fairy tale land. And that was another thing I liked about
based on Henry's family tree alone. Free admission.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you open up the gate and let him in. Like, dude, come on. And so I was glad he finally got to be in Fairy Tale Land and be a hero. And I loved when he and Hook were saving Emma from the tower, and they're like the Wookiee prisoner gag works every time.
I just want I want a scene later with Henry and Hook marathoning Star Wars.
Yeah. They need to have something.
Which
like,
they can do that because Star Wars is owned by Disney, so they can actually if they wanted to show it, they could.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they've name dropped enough Star Wars stuff in there to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Princess Leia during third season finale, and now the Wookiee prisoner gag,
and then Greg's cell phone.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they could. I mean, it doesn't have to be like an overt Star Wars reference. Just hey, we were watching Star Wars last night, and Killian's talking about how does the Force, and could be asking him questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so how are Luke and Leia brother and sister again? And didn't she kiss him?
Yeah. Well, hey, I know why your mom used Princess Leia. Why couldn't you chose Han when we were in?
Because he wasn't a prince.
That's
He's
true.
a pirate. He's a pirate. That's why she picked Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I that's a scene I want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, give Hook more too, please. Not just because I want him, not just because I want more Colin O'Donoghue on my screen, but as a character, he deserves more screen time, and he just needs more stuff to do. And it's interesting.
He's an interesting character, so
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot they can do with that character if they choose to. And
yeah.
really hope they choose to.
Mm-hmm. Ever since Hook's first appearance, he's really grown on me, because at first I wasn't quite sure, but as the episodes went by, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm getting it. I like it.
You're a big fan of Rumple, so
Mm-hmm.
Hook was sort of Rumple's arch nemesis, so
right.
There was probably a reason for that.
Yeah, at first, but then it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
they both got the bad, crappy end stick.
Mm-hmm.
pretty much.
Because I think too, when Balefire wound up teaming up with Hook, and then Hook started connecting the dots and finding out a little more about Rumple's backstory and why he did the things he did was to get his son back. It's like, ooh, now I'm kind of understanding you a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Definitely. So they have good material to work with in season 5. Just don't screw it up, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was good material to work with in season 4B, and they just kind of got lost.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the long haul, but guys,
make it worth it.
Yeah.
The game.
Please do.
Yeah.
Be done.
Oh yeah.
Because they've done good hit and miss sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are good ones. So I'm just, but the idea of the dark savior, I think, is a good one, and as long as they don't overstuff it, part of the season suffered from was they just stuffed it full of too much. They were trying to do too many things, and it's like you could have spread some of that stuff out and save it for future seasons, and make it work. You don't have to blow the whole everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or if something
all in
else
one go
falls into their lap for something else or storytelling, put that on the back burner and don't try to plop it in right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Frozen had been flop, I I would agree with you on that. But the thing is, Frozen kind of fit what they were trying to do at the time.
Yeah,
and it worked just as well. Yeah. But just, I don't know. I think they could have spread this out a little
worked out. If something drops into their lap, don't focus on that to the extent that you let the rest of the story suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I think that's what I was trying to.
Yeah. And I feel like they had the author thing, or the author and the apprentice thing kind of simmering already, and that's why it kind of got woven in through Frozen storyline, like with the episode The Apprentice and some of that other stuff. So I mean, it worked as sort of a B plot and setting up for the next part of this next phase of the story. So I mean, I don't know what the solution was other than not do Queens of Darkness. Just say we're finding the author, or like your hashtag could have been who is the author or something like that. I don't know.
Hit me.
What?
Tying back to Star Wars, the supposed apprentice, and he says, "Fine, Merlin. What if the apprentice is actually Merlin, pulling an Obi-Wan Kenobi?"
And then the apprentice died, though, didn't he?
No, he was. I don't think he died. I just thought he was. Shot.
He conked out.
Because Ella was just like, get him comfortable.
Could be.
So I don't know.
That
Never
and it could be
sure.
that he dies in Storybrooke and shows back up wherever Merlin is.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I've seen too many fantasy stories to discount anything at this point.
It's like, once we see Merlin, is it going to be somebody we've never seen before?
Or is it going to be somebody?
Or is it going to be somebody we've seen before and we didn't realize it?
Yeah.
Could be.
It could go either way. Because, I mean, we saw Isaac before we realized that he was the author.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like it.
Or could it be the dragon?
I'm not
with Tamara.
Oh yeah, that guy. When August went to Phuket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he met the dragon.
Because didn't he turn? Yeah, because wasn't his name the dragon?
Yeah, they just called him the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And then he knew about the author. He knew about the storybook. He knew about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he
just
died or disappeared. Yeah, and then he just pooped. Maybe that's Lily's dad.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe August knows more than
now that he's a grown up again, I guess he can stick around and be Mr. Exposition.
Maybe.
Exposition.
Yeah.
Exposition.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, so we're stuck speculating until fall.
They start, until they start announcing stuff in Comic-Con and
That's
casting,
true, and they start filming, and we'll get set photos and that sort of thing. So
the consensus is, don't screw it up, guys.
Please. Please try.
Try really hard.
It's like, come on, Disney, you're known for your storytelling,
Well, they've done good stuff. That's the thing.
I know, that's my point. It's like they do fantastic things, and then every now and then they'll pull something like a John Carter, and it's just...
Well, no, John Carter was good. They just didn't market it very well.
Yeah, that's true. But still, somebody made a poor decision somewhere, and other people agreed with it, and they went with it, and it turned out to backfire. So
someone didn't someone didn't put the red line through the paragraph and say, "You lost me here. What the heck is this?"
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
again, well, it is. They are a company run by mortals with mortal failings. So I guess we got to cut them some slack when they do screw up.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So.
I want to go rewatch the Frozen story arc. I just love it. I wish they could have kept Ingrid on a little longer and Elsa. I loved when they harkened back to Elsa, and I'm like, I want Emma and Elsa to be buddies. I just love that.
They need some sort of inter-realm mail system so they can be pen pals or something.
Yeah.
Skype that will connect between the different realms.
Well, Skype's barely connecting Salt Lake City to all of you people, so I don't know.
We don't have magic.
I don't know.
So
it's true. Although if my Dark One Emma realm jumping theory turns out to be true, they could go back to Arendelle for a little while and bring back Elsa and Anna and Kristoff, and I'd be like, dude, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Maybe just for a little while, and Elsa sees that her friend tries to help, even just for a little bit, because I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, anyway, until season 5, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. Excuse me.
So anyway.
Pardon me.
Well, if we're wrapping up here, we'll do our little customary plugs for stuff and say you can visit us. Oh, well.
Just before it's not to do with Once Upon a Time. It's to do with Carmilla, season 2.
Oh,
we'll be back on June 2nd. So,
and that's on YouTube, right?
That's on YouTube. They release 4 or 5-minute episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
And season 2's starting June 2nd. So, yay!
Tune in.
Which means that
Let's put
when we record our 1-year anniversary special, I'll be able to report on the first 2 episodes.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yay! We know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The characters all have Twitter accounts, there's actual Twitter accounts that you can follow from the characters, and they've started tweeting about running for their lives and
nice
stuff.
I like it.
The character Twitters in the show notes, and people can them really.
We'll have to put a link to the YouTube channel in the show notes.
Yeah.
With everything else.
June 2nd. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's good to have things to be excited about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw a post where someone had summarized everything we know about season 2 so far. And there's one character who's I think genderqueer, which is La Fontaine, and one of the things that we know about season 2 is that they're going to get a storyline exploring their gender identity, which is fantastic.
I would say so. Oh, sorry. I have been dog sitting all week. And it is exhausting.
Oh, I bet. Well, let's get things wrapped up. So
yeah.
We do all the customary plugging.
Yep.
So visit us at the5ishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com. Visit us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. And Facebook's where we throw a lot of our cool news links when they do come up, and it's kind of been a little lean lately.
Mm-hmm.
But follow us there, and And make sure you've liked us on Facebook, because we might have something coming up. And I will say no more here.
If you've been paying attention to the calendar.
I retweeted the news about Carmella coming back on our Twitter.
So, yeah, we try and tweet
on Twitter and stuff
sometimes.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we tweeted more when we were doing Marvel with Friends, which we're getting some Flicks with Friends stuff squared away. So again, watch all of our social media stuff.
Especially Facebook
about Carmella coming back on June 2nd, and I retweeted that. So yeah,
which we do that. We retweet and we Instagram quite a bit on our Instagram too.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're on Instagram and we're on Pinterest, and I did say Tumblr. But yeah, all those links are at our website. We're also on YouTube, which we post our podcast there still, if just, in case that's what you want to do, or for backup. And all our older episodes are there. And iTunes, we are there. Leave us a review if you feel so inclined. That helps us out too. Rate, review.
Apparently, hopefully subscribing to the podcast also helps with algorithm.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm slowly learning how algorithms work, and it's fascinating, but it's also brain numbing as well.
I listened to mention that subscribing helps with whatever their algorithm is.
Right.
So
yeah. But then rating and leaving reviews also helps push podcasts forward so that they appear on people's iTunes main page. Makes it more likely so people may see something, because some people go on iTunes and they may want to look for a podcast, but they don't necessarily know what they want to listen to a podcast about if they don't have a particular topic in mind. So you can go to just iTunes and podcasts, and it'll show you the most popular, the most subscribed and all that, and you can just kind of browse and see what's popular. And it's if something's popular, then it may be a good thing to listen to. Obviously there's ones that people are going to recognize, like NPR and the Nerdist and all that, but the smaller podcasts can end up there as well if people give them a push. So people may not know they want to listen to us until they've listened to us. So, people need to know that we are there so they can give us a listen and decide that they like us.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yes. So cool. Yeah, hit us up, follow us on our social media. Like I said, if you've been paying attention to the calendar, then you realize that we're coming up on a very important date in this podcast, and it's very exciting, and we have stuff planned that we're not going to talk about right now. But yeah, if you stay tuned to our social media, especially Facebook, because that may pay off shortly. And that's all we will say for now.
Yes. So. But we have plans.
We have plans.
Big plans. To quote one of my favorite picture books, big plans.
Big plans. As I'm twiddling my fingers like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. Excellent. So, alrighty then. So, with that, unless anybody has anything else to add, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Good night, everyone. You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by their respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.